Okay, number one. In this photo, so the student's looking at a photo. Now this is very important because in the FCE, CAE, CPE, they give you a photo. Yeah, these are exams by Cambridge, very expensive exams in fact. And they give you a photo in this exam. And in the CPE, which is the highest level, you've got to know the language better than a native speaker, certainly, to get a good score at CPE. Your grammar's got to be a lot better than a native speaker, for sure. And so if you're in this exam and you're describing a photo, you want to get out your complex forms. Yeah, you want to get out all of your flashy sentences and your complicated pieces of grammar. And so look at this sentence. In this photo, a woman is reading. Okay, so far so good. She seems to enjoy the article. Yeah, the photo showed a woman who was reading an article, and the woman seemed to be enjoying the article. Yeah, you see what I'm doing, guys? Yeah, she seems to be enjoying the article. And it really needs to be like this. It is actually a mistake to say seems to enjoy. Yeah, it's not just simpler, but it's actually a mistake. Because with some verbs, and seem is the most important verb here, seem, claim, appear, pretend. Let's just look at these four. We've looked at them before in other lessons. But I want you to remember that, especially with that top verb, it's come up again and again and again. If you are describing a photo and you use seem to describe one of the people in the photo, please use a complex form. It's dangerous not to. If you use the simple form, she seems to enjoy, it's a mistake. You've got to say she seems to be enjoying, and yeah, it needs a to. She seems to be enjoying the article. That is to plus infinitive in the continuous aspect. You can also see sometimes, if you want to talk about something that has happened, she seems to have, I don't know, what, maybe she seems to have broken her arm. Yeah, maybe you're looking at a woman and her arm is in plaster, we say, which means not a little plaster for a cut, but uncountable plaster, which means the material that goes around your arm when it's broken, the material that keeps it straight, keeps the bone straight so that it can get better. So she seems to have broken her arm. Sorry, we put a her in as well. She seems to have broken her arm would describe a woman who's standing there with a broken arm. And you get the chance to show off to the examiner. And what I mean is to show that you know how to use complex infinitives. Yeah, it's not something that most natives do, but we must do it with seem, and so we do usually do it with seem, and it's pretty easy to do it with claim and appear as well. Pretend, not so easy, I must admit. But claim, he claims to have done this, he claims to be enjoying himself. You know, you can use complex forms, especially perfect infinitive, after those two verbs as well. We also see it after adjectives. Yeah, it was stupid to have followed his advice. To have followed after stupid. So it's not just those four verbs, but seem is very important. It's very easy to use seem when you describe a photo, and if you practice it, you'll be able to describe that photo in that Cambridge exam with the highest mark, because you'll get, you know, some good, some impressive grammar in your speaking. Okay, number two, when I get bored to be at home. No, bored of. Yeah, when I get bored of being at home. Bored of, bored with, being bored. I say bored of. Yeah. I remember reading bored with in Cambridge. And that sounds odd to me because I always say bored of when I get bored of being. And I think everybody in this town says bored of and not bored with. When I get bored with being at home, no, I wouldn't say that. When I get bored of being at home. But I am well aware that bored with appears in some books. Well, personally, I prefer bored of. That's what people say in this area. And I think with prepositions, you have to go with what you hear people using in your area, because prepositions do change from area to area. And so, yeah,